So first of all, volume. First of all, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And it's always a pleasure to come to Cont. And it is actually a special honor to be speaking in front of big and great people like Professor Pincha, Professor Ramamuthi, and Sadatan, and so on and so forth. And it's an honor to be speaking at IIT Madras. A smart place, right? So, first of all the slides are already there. So, those of you don't have to take any notes. The slides you can download if you have the wireless right here from that area, that URL. And that URL will be on every slide. So, there is no hurry for that. I'm going to talk about 5 things. What is a smart city? Why now and how? So my how would be different than other things because I don't know anything other than computer science. Okay? So I'm limited to computer science. City IQ. How to measure your smartness of a city. And you heard a lot about smart cities in India versus rest of the world. We'll build up on that too. And the challenges and what can we do. But B means me and you. Researchers in computer science. So first of all, I was very confused, and you would be too, because there is cyber city, digital city, knowledge city, information city, intelligent city, eco city, and the list goes on. Sustainable city, talented cities, wild cities, and now we have smart cities. Question is, which one we are talking about, and what is the difference between them? Actually, they exist. Electronic city in Bangalore, right? Cyber city is right here in Chennai. Knowledge city, you have to go to Calcutta. And for digital city, you have to go to Bombay too, right? So these are different things. And in fact, the concepts are different too. And if you read literature, you will find that people are trying to define these. In fact, I was surprised that some standard bodies have defined all of these terms. What is the difference between knowledge city and smart city? But the interesting thing is, and my conclusion is, you don't need to worry about any of them. All you need to worry about is smart city. That's it. Because today, nobody cares for anything. Okay? Today in 2015, September, only thing that matters is smart city. Why? Because everything is smart. Everything is smart. We have a smart watch, we have a smart TV, we have a smart car, we have a smart health, our home is smart, our wine is smart, our space is smart, our industries are smart, why are smart cities? Right? Everything is smart, and so why we care about the knowledgeable city or anything else? So question is, what is smart? And this is a slide I'm using from 2014. In 2014, I defined what a smart means. It turns out the definition of smartness has changed in the last few years. 10 years ago, if you see somebody and see something and you say, it's a smart, means it can compute. It has many mega class. Okay, a mix. Today we don't care for the mega class. You have Google to get all the answers. As long as you can get to Google, you are smart. So the smartness is defined by connectivity, by the internet. And so everything that is connected is smart, and everything that is not connected is not smart. Okay? And so we have grid versus a smart grid, meter versus a smart meter, a car versus a smart car, our home versus a smart home. What is the difference? A smart means connected. That's all. So that's a very simple definition. And so this is the past, this is the present, this is not very smart, this is very smart. Okay? Yeah, so we move on. Oh, by the way, feel free to interrupt me during the talk. If you have any comments, questions, feel free. I'm finding myself. So you will get, you'll get to go to lunch. Alright? So don't worry about the time. Just ask me. Alright, so what's the problem? Okay, first of all, they have defined city. City is 1 lakh people. 1 lakh, 10 raised to 5. If you have more than 10 raised to 5 in one place, that's a city. Now, in the rest of the world, 50% of the population lives in the city. Over 50%. So, majority of the population lives in places which are more than 1 lakh. And by 2050, it will be 75%, even higher. And then they have mega cities, which is 1 crore people. Okay? And right now, most of these mega cities are here in Asia. They're not in the United States, but actually might be one or two in the United States, but most of them are here. And there will be more in the coming years. Okay? So we have to worry about the cities and we have to worry about mega cities. Now, city population is growing much faster than the resources. So the simple problem is that we need to somehow manage the resources much more smartly than we used to do before. And we already saw so many different ways of doing that. And that is what will make a smart city. So basically the idea is that how can we use the resources that we have and still live well in the city. So the old versus new. The governments have the last to adopt the new technology. So you go to government office, this is what it looks like. Okay? And you go to the Amazon, this is what it looks like. You never really go anywhere. You go to, I go to Amazon every day, I buy a lot of stuff from there, and then, that's it. That's how it looks like to me. Right? And if I go to city office, I will be going from bench to bench to bench to bench, desk to desk to desk to desk, building to building to building, and come back with nothing. Right? So we need smart governance. And the summary of a smart city, in my view, my computer science definition, is the city should run like Amazon. Okay? Amazon, Google, Fox, Facebook, all of them, they are user-driven, they are dynamic, they are real-time, they are technology-oriented. If the price of any other website goes down by $1, you will see Amazon reduce its price by 30 seconds by that $1. Can the government do that? Can the cities do that? And of course, they don't understand anything, but can they react to the user demand? Can they react to the user needs in a second or in a day or in a minute? Or maybe in a year, I don't know. That's what we mean by smart city, right? All right. That means a single place for all services, and actually all the services probably virtual anyway. So the question that came to my mind is this a new problem? Is this a smart city something that happened in 2015? How come we didn't care about it before? So as before I had to Google and ask, when did this smart city happen? And you can do that. You can go to Google Trends, trends.google.com, and ask for any problem, and they will tell you. It will tell you when it exactly happened. So basically what it is that Google Trends tells you how many people were searching for that word and that phrase at what year, what time. So if you say smart cities, nobody was searching for it. Nobody was searching for it before 2006. Nobody was searching for it. Yeah, in 2006, some people started searching for it, but suddenly in 2015, it has moved. Okay? And so what happens? And Google tells you that too. It marks the points, important points around the directory, and it tells you what happens. It says on point G, Italian people started running smart cities, so now Italian people started running smart cities. At point E, BJP announced that they will put 700 or 7,000 stores in July 2014, and that's when suddenly India will start looking for it, what am I talking about? And at point B, Cisco said that we are going to smart cities, and A is basically August 27, 2015, when we announced smart cities. So now everybody is looking for it. I was looking for it too. And so there is a big spike down, and you can see that at least 20 times bigger than before. But interestingly, what turned out is that we say Google is not there on this one. Because I have to go back and it really started in 1992 when the book was published, 1992 book. The technology was now smart cities first system, global development, blah, blah, blah. So in 1992, somebody thought about, actually it is just coincidental, that in 1992 internet came about. And somebody asked me how to use internet of the city. So that book is about that. How to connect the cities. Except that nobody really read that book and nobody did anything. Right? Until 800,000 crore money showed up, rupees showed up. Right? So the question is why we are working now? The answer is clear. The money. That's the reason why we are doing anything. Right? Why are the cities are doing anything? Why are businesses are doing anything? Is because there is money there. Right? So where the money comes from? You say 2023 study. This is a prediction, right? This is a prediction from this research. That $27 billion will be the smart city technology by 2023. And sorry, the number is wrong. So it is actually right now $27 billion, $174 billion by 2023. So obviously is in the line, exceed the line, and the limit that all will provide you with the technology of the smart city. Cisco, Intel, Huawei, IBM, Fujitsu, Siemens, all are selling ICT, information and communication technology, all are going to working on it, and because they are higher and working on it too. Right? And now, of course, the central government has said that they will select $7 million direct compensation for 40,000 crore rupees. For smart city in the next 5 years, and so as obviously, there is money selected the team for this country to be smart cities, right? And you know why it is Chennai? It's a Bangalore this year? Because Chennai is smart city, Bangalore is not. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? Chennai is one of the 100 cities and Bangalore is not one of the 100 cities. And so, we know where to go, right? Where the money is.
Run is smart.
We are already smart, right? And the smart means we follow the money.
See, I live in Bangalore, I grew up in Chennai.
All right. So what is that? So right from the beginning we know that the reason for smartness is the internet. So, but really, most of the money is going to this. So most of the money has to go into infrastructure. It has to go into the roads, transport, metros, and so on and so forth. Some of the money will go into this, and that is where we are. Right? And we have to find our place in that money. Right? So I developed a model for this. And being a networking person, I like 7-layer models. Right? So here is 7-layer model for smart cities. And so on the bottom layer, we have infrastructure, and then we have our sensors, meters, smartphones, and whatnot, data. Then we have the data somewhere, the LAN, the local area network, or other networks. So we have DSL, 4G, 5G, cloud. Then we need to combine the data, integrate the data with other data, such as economic data, population data, geographical information data, maps, everything has combined. So we need integration layer, and then we have applied learning, machine learning, intelligence, predictive analytics, and things like that, so that something useful can come out. And then we have to have the software on top of it, application, right? And for applications, we have the service-oriented architecture, cloud, apps, collaboration tools, and everything else. And then comes out smart safety, smart health, smart education, smart transportation, smart water, and smart electricity. Right? These are the technologies by following those 5 layers, right? Now it's interesting that in my view, really most of it is ICT. right? 5 out of 7 are city. Of course, this is my view, because if some people think that I transfer, you would probably lower the bottom line to 7, right? My view is that really the ICT, we have a lot of opportunities here. We all need to work on this, and let's see how we can somehow get something out of it. So ICT for smart cities, I already told you there are things, and you might already be working on it, except that you didn't realize that there is money here. So if you're working on sensors, please don't call it sensors. Call it smart city project. Okay? If you're working on predictive analytics, don't call it predictive analytics. Predictive analytics for smart cities. As soon as you put those words, the money will show up. Okay? And same thing goes for the functions, right? So basically, the idea is that we are already doing all of this. I don't know anybody here who is not doing one of these, but the same realizing the smartness is in somehow applying your knowledge for the problem of today. And the problem of today is smart city. Okay? All right. So here are some examples. London has everything open. So all the data, you can go to that website. You can find all the data from the government from London, okay? And then you can write your own app, you can sell your own app, which gives some information to the user, and you can make money on it. This Tango city in South Korea, everything is by internet. So it's like Amazon. You don't have to go to the city, you just play with your Wi-Fi or whatever tablet, and you get paid now. That's it. In India, actually, a very good example. The Delhi police act, which came in the news recently, 55,000 reports in 6 months. They could not have done that kind of work done if they were stuck in the office without that. That's an example of smart city. In Melbourne, there are many things, but one of the interesting things is one is they are very clean, and they want to make sure that all the people are taken care of. Every place has been given an ID. And if something breaks, some service is required for a tree, you can just, of course, SMS that 335,233 has a plan that needs to be cut. Alright? However, they found out that instead of the report, they also, in addition to the report, they also got emails from trees. So people go emails to the tree, to the board and tree, I need so much, or I'm so proud of what you're taking now. Right? And there are whole bunch of smart things around the tree. Right? Alright. So now the next, we just change over the topic. The question is, how do we measure the smartness of a city? And it turns out there is an ISO standard for it. And with that ISO standard, you can get a number of 37.5 marks for your city. Exact quantitative number. I'm not joking here. Okay? The ISO standard is 37120. It's the sustainable development of communities indicators for city services and quality life. And then World Council city data, if you fill out their form or actually do all of what they say, and give you one of these 4 medals, 5 medals, you can get aspirational, bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. Okay? And for how they give this number, it's interesting to see how to do it. So they have 17 themes and 100 indicators for city services. And they measure on those themes and indicators, and then give you marks on those. So here is the list of the smart cities, and I think it's not a complete list. I couldn't fit it on the slide, so I put some major ones. So you can see London, Rotterdam, Toronto, Los Angeles, they are all platinum, highest, they are in these lists. And then these guys, Amsterdam, Helsinki, and they are aspirational. They are the bottom. Right? So how they calculate? What do they measure? So they measure actually economy, education, energy, and so on and so forth. 17 different things. Okay? And this is basically, the thing that we had on our list as to what we want to make smart. And for each of those themes, they ask you questions as to how you are doing. So, for example, on education, they ask you what is the percentage of female school-age population enrolled in school. Okay, that's a good indicator of how smart you are. And this is better than asking percentage of male students. Okay, and because in most cities which are smart, basically female and male might be the same number, whereas non-smart places will have female much less than male. By the way, the indicators are three kinds: core, which is required; recommended, which is supporting; and informative profile. So there is a different score. You get 1 mark for this and half mark for that, and so on and so forth, right? So this is a very strict examination system, okay? And so this one is a core, and this male population is supporting. You get some mark for it, but not too much. All right, and so they have this student completing primary education, secondary education, population, and similar questions are there for the other categories, 17 categories, and this is all serious stuff. I'm not making it up. Okay. All right. So much about this. Basically, I thought it would be good for people to know that there is such a thing that any city could go to this place, buy a council of city data, and get the measure according to how far they are, how much they made. And many of these days probably have to go every year, but it is good for 1 year. The data is not for next year. How the numbers will change. So it's really good, right? Now I'm going to change the topic again. Are there any questions so far? There is no. So I think it would be good if there were some questions. Okay, I'm running ahead of my time. Okay, so the question is whether the Indian cities can be considered for any of these classifications, and the answer is I think it costs money, because WCCD is in this for money, right? So unless you are going to get some money for getting that classification, I wouldn't go there, right? but that's what it is. Actually, anybody can go. The answer is anybody can go. And what is actually better is that probably this would have an Indian system of scoring. And it turns out that we do have a system of scoring. And on that scoring system, Bangalore failed. That's why it is not a smart city. So there is a system. If you go and look around, you will find that the government of India has made a scoring system in which they measured all the cities, and they found that some cities are, smarter than others. I don't know whether they have a numeric assigned to each city, but they do have at least pass and fail for sure.
The Olympics cities have gotten this.
All the Olympic cities have gotten the platinum. So maybe the Olympics is, but I don't think Olympic is one of the criteria. But what happens with the Olympics is that you get good transportation. You get good housing. Just bringing Olympics in a city, changes the city totally. Yeah, it's quite possible. Yeah, it's quite possible.
These indicators, most of them actually have a cross-section with the Human Development Index.
So you mean they have Human Development Index?
Most of it also figures in like a percent of category. Girls school, girls going to school, going from primary to secondary.
Yeah. So here the thing though, let me tell you this thing. This system is very thorough. Because before this system, in this 2014 only, right? This standard came out in 2014. Before that, every city had a different measure. And that was causing a lot of confusion in different countries. So all this, ISO, by the way, you know, right? United Nations Organization. So they all got together and then they made a big list. And in that big list, because some people didn't like some things, so they made something core, which is required, and something which is supportive and also. This is a very thorough work. Okay? All right. So moving on, so it turns out that what is happening in the United States? Well, United States this week, yesterday, just finished Smart Cities Week, and Obama made some very big announcements for smart cities in the United States. However, the money is not as big as in India. Maybe I should come back here and then work on smart cities here. So they're talking $40 million. Who is going to work on $40 million? When we have $8 billion here, right? And so $40 million NSF just sent out, you just look up on the NSF website, they announced $40 million new research program on smart cities. And then they announced projects for broadband. So what they're going to do is they want people to put the broadband right when the cities are made, and not only that, make it easier for the companies like AT&T or any other carrier to put the broadband fiber with least amount of headaches. I mean, like as we say, is that our paperwork, our hurdles, so that broadband can go. And broadband in America means minimum 1 gigabit per home, and so the definition is different than what we would want here. But that's what we are struggling with because South Korea is ahead of us, ahead of the United States, and South Korea 1 gigabit was there, like 10 years ago per home. And you know what happened? Interestingly, when you get that high speed, there are things that you cannot do here. All the kids are playing online games real time. So the school system went down the drain. And they have to rethink as to whether we really need this speed or not. And that's a good question too, is that, is there a really need for 1 gigabit? And we struggled with that. You know why? Because we applied for the same thing. We applied for all this, money in the United States for the research, that $40 million. And the problem is, so government says, okay, all right, why don't you propose something which requires gigabit services? Okay, so we looked at it. Okay, maybe we want to transmit your X-rays, with very high quality across the city, maybe across to India even, right? It turns out you don't need gigabit for that. Believe it or not, the compression technology is so good today that you can do it at very small speed, a very good quality photo or video. All right. So what we are doing is, we are saying, no, we won't compress. We will send uncompressed video to make up that gigabit application. That's what we are doing. Really, I'm telling you is that while on one side the compression people like Dr. Ramamurthy, they are doing a good job, but on the other hand, we are trying to find some way to use that gigabit if it comes to our home, right? And so that's the thing is that in the United States the problems are different and the issues are different, and we have to think about it differently. But there is a program called Ignite program. And so we have multi-gigabit connections between the cities and multi-gigabit applications, but most of them are basically using uncompressed video. That is the only way you can create that much traffic for one application. Of course, if you combine million applications, it will be more than a gigabit. And so I am myself involved in these smart city projects with other universities together, where we are thinking as to how to use the high speed for health, energy, education, things like that. Okay, so we are working with doctors and things like that. But the real secret is that most of these, if you have just one application, and this is what the problem is at United States, because they want you to serve one application. That is difficult to find now at this time. All right. So now let's come back and see. So we went to Google again, and actually this comes together. When you go to Google Trends and you ask them, okay, so who is looking for smart cities? It gives you that chart that you saw before, but it also tells you where they are looking. It comes together with that. Okay, so that is the top part of the screen. The bottom part of the screen is here. And can you see where they are looking for smart cities? In India. That's it. 100 people are looking in India compared to only 9 people in the United States. 40 million versus 8 billion makes a difference. Right? And so let's talk about smart cities in India. Right? And we know that 12 are in Tamil Nadu, only 6 in Karnataka. So there are smarter states than smarter, and so on and so forth. I don't want to get into the state politics here, but just wanted to point out that there is a map which tells you what is happening, and the problems are slightly different. Professor Ramamurthy already presented this, but I'm going to put it here again, that while in the world, 50%, over 50% of the population lives in cities, in India, only 30% lives in the cities. 70% of India is still rural. 70% of India is still rural. But why are you worrying about those cities? Why are you worrying about the 30%? Because, again, money. 30% of India produces 63% of GDP. And it will be 75% in few years. So if you really care for the total, well-being of well-being of India, actually GDP is a good measure of well-being of any country, then you got to bring that up. Okay? And so we have seen the rest of it. Now it turns out that 48,000 crore is not all of the money. It is only the money that is coming from the federal government, central government. The states have to put the same matching amount. So 48,000 crore is coming from the states. And that is maybe why Tamil Nadu has 12 cities and Karnataka has 6 cities, because they didn't have money. Maybe. I'm just guessing here. I don't know. So basically, matching amounts has to come from states. 48 times 2, 96,000 crores. And then, if you read, and this is very well done, I was really impressed with the whole program, is that this is a seed money for a startup. Seed money. And you got to get a lot of money from other places to really do these works. Okay? So the money would be probably 20 times this number. There's a lot of money here. And if you're not looking, please do. Okay? Alright. So with that, I will get into moving into challenges. Yeah. Okay, so the thing is, here's the problem. That argument makes sense. We should look at small villages, and but the thing is, we have to look at input and output. The thing is, right now in the villages we have, we don't have education, right? We don't have, so money is probably being spent there too, but not on the same problems that we are talking about here today. For example, the thing is, the problems that we are talking, maybe even more aggravated in villages, but if you put, 48,000 crore rupees there, the output will be very little. So now this is, the thing is, I'm not going to start a war here, the thing is, but I just want you to know that the thing is right now it is 30% which is in the city and 70% is in the villages. Okay, but the thing is, the productivity from the villages is very low. So there are other things that the government would probably be doing or working on, which I don't know about. All right, good questions. So now let's go into what we can do. Okay, challenges. So first of all, before I go into what we can do, I want to see what the challenges are in this whole smart city project. And lots of challenges were talked by the previous two speakers, but one of the biggest challenges is financing. So this 96,000 crore is not all of the money. You have to bring 10, 15 times more money to really put those trains, put those rails, put those things that we talked about. And finding that money is not going to be easy. Anybody who has done this startup knows it very well. Okay? And that's what it is. Actually, if you read the manifesto of the Indian government, it exactly says that you have a CEO in every city and the CEO has to raise money and give the report every year. Fairness to all parts of the cities. When you go to companies like Cisco and HP and everything else, they don't want to go to the corner of the city. They want to go in the middle of the city because that is where the money is. So how do you make the whole city smart and not just the middle of the city smart? It's going to be a problem. Public trust. And people in general don't trust the government. So if you start publicizing how much electricity I am using, how much water I am using, how much water I am using, then I would be very, very afraid. I would probably cut off that connection to the smart world and say, okay, I don't want you to measure any of mine things, right? Like this cartoon says here. Customization. Professor Ramamurthy made a very good case that every city is different, every country is different, but Cisco is not going to sell a different solution to every city. They are going to make one solution and sell it to every city. They are going to sell the same to Los Angeles, to Chennai. So you have to watch out. You have to say, well, what is it for Chennai, here? Turnover. The computer that you have installed today will be no good after 2 years. You all know that, right? And is the city going to buy a new computer every 2 years? They are not used to that kind of stuff, right? Their computers are 15 years old already, right? And so when all this technology comes in, it is only good for 2 or 3 years. And nobody has thought about it. Well, actually, I'm sure somebody has thought about it. But so this turnover is a big thing. Digital disruption in the next slide, and security and privacy. Digital disruption. Whenever there is a change, there is a problem. Every coin has two sides, positive and negative, right? Head and tail. So whenever there is an automation, things get done faster. Some people get fired because things get done faster. When you get a washing machine, the washing lady is fired, right? When you get whatever, there is something who doesn't get a job anymore. And there is then all this demonstration. We have right now demonstration going on against Uber because, there are new methods of doing the same old thing. And so don't just think that we will get this smartness and you will get everything done on your iPad and nobody in the city hall will object to it. You know how much they objected when the banks were getting computerized? How much they objected when they were trying to privatize certain institutions? Same thing is going to happen against smart cities. Security. Now the attack surface for the smart cities is very large. Attack surface means what are the things that you can attack and gain notoriety or gain whatever you're looking for. If you can attack sensors, you can attack the operating systems like Linux, which will be used everywhere. You can use the access network, Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, power line. You can attack the IP network, DNS and routers, which we know how to. Clouds you can attack. You can attack the management platform like the HTTP interface. Lifecycle management, booting, pairing, updating. If any of these is weak, people will find how to do that. Nowadays you get a message that says you need to update your Java. Be careful. See where it is coming from because they're going to update you from their own version of Java, which is not official version of Java. Right? And so higher layer protocols, applications, and human social engineering. Social engineering is the deepest point. So you call somebody in the city hall and say, okay, there is a problem here in this thing, and what is the password? And so that happens quite a bit, right? So I'm not going to go into detail, but that is what is, okay. So HP conducted a study, not of smart cities, but of smart devices that you can buy today. So you can buy all of this on Amazon today. And they found that 80% had privacy concerns. Means your private information is being sold out into the market. Had poor password. So you just put a 4-digit number and that's your password. Anybody can get it very easily. Had no encryption. 70% had no encryption. So it's all going in clear. So you are watching, you are doing something, it's all completely in clear, anybody can read it. 60% has vulnerability. And this is not that old, this is 2013 report. And HTTP, actually I forgot the date on this one, HTTP is 2013-14, very recent. 60% had HTTP problems, 60% had insecure updates. Symantec did the same thing, but in a different direction. They studied and they found that people love to attack government. They won't love to attack me because if they attack me, it doesn't come in the news. But they love to attack government because if they were able to attack Chennai, they will be in the news. Right? So 22% of the target attacks are aimed at governments and energy and utility companies. 24% of the identity breaches are targeted at government and healthcare institutions. So you have to be especially careful. Now here are some examples of the insecurities. In the Placer County, a courthouse called 1,200 people to jury duty on one morning. Whole city was congested because everybody was going for jury duty. Some one bug, right? In Bay Area, BART, which is San Francisco, Silicon Valley, it was shut down because of a bug. Okay? 55 million in Northeast USA, Boston corridor, that area, lost power due to a bug. So these things, when they attack big. Previously, with non-smart methods, you couldn't do many things, and so the bugs couldn't do that many things either. Right? And not making a pipeline caused a pipeline explosion, and so on and so forth. Now, there's another interesting thing is that nation states and cyber terrorists know how to make your public data. So your data will be read not by your citizens, but by China, by Korea, by North Korea, and so on and so forth. And so the next war will be fought not by submarine guns, but by smartness. Okay, it's already being fought. So there was one war between South Korea and USA, Sony got hacked. Then there was another war between China and USA. So this is already being fought. This is already being planned. China has a cyber army, US has a cyber army, North Korea has a cyber army, and I'm sure India has a cyber army. Right? So that is what we have to worry about. So what are the areas that we should be working on? It turns out it really doesn't matter. If you are working on broadband, if you work on mobile, you are working on middleware, smart devices, big data, cloud computing, Internet of Things, social, all of these are smart city problems. Yeah.
You understand the challenges for the smart cities. So if we are to rank them, like for Indian context, what will come as the first challenge?
Oh, actually, I haven't done that work. See, the thing is, so here's the thing. I'm a computer scientist, so I don't want to rank these things, okay? But some social scientists, some political scientists, and people who do these things, I don't know how to do it. The question is whether financing is the highest priority of fairness, of public trust, customization. In my view, it will be highest, but that is only if all this is done. And all this is not done, it is first two things come in.
I guess like ICT we are doing well. I mean, people are working there, but people's attitude and the digital disruptions.
Yeah.
This is more kind of problem in India. For
Yeah.
example, one leader, good leader, he announces that let's have the metered water, and then people suddenly come out of the road and they don't want any kind of system.
Metered water, yeah.
The water will be metered actually.
I am not going to pretend to be able to solve that problem. Okay? I think Modi is better equipped for that. So, and Lalu Prasad Yadav, okay. All right, here is one person from Andhra. Okay, so my point was that really everything in computer science, ICT, information and communication technology, is really relevant to smart city. If you didn't realize it, please do it today and start looking for money, for financing, for things. If you have a company, whatever you're doing, it doesn't really matter. I'm telling you, ICT is for smart cities because smart city is a very general problem. All right. So one more thing is the 5G. 5G is actually, Anita here is going to give a very good talk. I just have one slide. 5G is basically wireless and maybe, and Professor Ramamurthy can say whether it is going to be used in India or not, but it is going to be really, at least in the United States, they're looking for this because you need 1,000 times the data volume. You need 100 billion devices, which is actually 100 times more devices than today, 100 times data rate, 1/5 latency, and 10 times battery life. So 5G is being designed with those goals, and hopefully it will show up someday and help us solve this smart city problem. Government citizen partnership. So what can we do? So I will go over government part, but I will come to our part. Government really needs to do citizen trust in two ways. First of all, trust is one thing, but also to use them for whatever they want to get done. So for example, we have this ARM competition. You know what is happening? Everybody is using ARM computer and getting trained in ARM, and so the company is benefiting, right? Same thing the government should do is run competition for smart city applications, for smart data and all that, and so they will get a lot of money out of it. And invest in the local universities like we are doing in IIT Madras and something like that. National governments do then basically there is a problem of intercity. If every city is smart, how do they talk to each other, right? So there is an interconnection which needs to be done. City-university partnerships. So it turns out the presence of a university does not make it smart. Okay? We professors are used to working without really worrying about what is going on around our building. Okay? And so if you have a IIT or IIS, or anything, it does not directly imply that the city, is getting smartness out of it. While city is getting indirectly because you get the good educated people and then they find the job most likely in the city. But we can have more direct impact. And so universities need to help the local government, and like Dr. Ramamurthy's lecture was very, very effective as to they're looking at all the problems that the city needs, and we need to do more of that. And universities can also be smart cities by themselves. So we actually, in our WashU, for example, we run our university itself, the campus itself, in a very smart way. And these are the two examples of them. So we have these kinds of boards where you can see how much water is being used, how much this is being used, and that helps actually. I had a very high electric bill, so I called an electric company. They said, okay, we'll send you daily report. And they have a smart meter in my home, so they are sending me daily report. So I realized that, I got to cut it down. So I bought new bulbs for the first time, I went for LED and so on and so forth, because before that, so measuring always helps. Second thing we are doing is green lamp competition, which is we are asking the students to compete. Whichever dorm gets the lowest and most decrease in energy, we give them some award. So, two things happen. First of all, not only our bill goes down, the university bill goes down, but also the students become smart when they go out. So that is the end of my talk. 5 key points. First is smart city means ICT plus everything else, which is infrastructure, sustainability, people-private partnership. Second thing is there are numerous challenges, which is, disruptions we talked about, partnership, finding the funding, and technology turnover, and the people trust. And then for the computer scientists, this is really a great opportunity. Great opportunity. I'm coming to your question. And then numerous research areas, 5G, security, privacy, big data, cloud computing, all of these are there. And this final 5th message is that the universities should be the first place to help India, to help our city, to help our state to get to the smart faster. Okay, go ahead. This one? Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Fourth bullet here, middle statement. Oh, fourth or first one. Wearing green t-shirt. Yeah, that helps. I mean, the thing is, if you are wearing green t-shirt, you cannot be caught doing things which are not green. As simple as that, right? I mean, if I am wearing that, okay, save electricity, and then, my lab lights are all on, that will be bad, right? So yeah, that simple experiment helps. It's only, free green t-shirt, right? That's not a very big deal. Is that the question? Yeah. By the way.